So I used to work with this woman who weighed a good 400 plus pounds easy. And what she would do, she would sit at her desk downstairs and she would not move unless it was her lunch break, unless it was, unless she had to go to the bathroom. This woman did not move. And the way she would handle this is she would say, "Oh, when you go over there, can you bring me this? Oh, by the way, can you just drop this off when you go there? Oh, can you get me that when you do this?" She would always basically ask people to get things for her as they were moving around. It just, I'm just being honest, okay? We would have meetings that were on the second floor, and she would not go to the meetings literally because they were on the second floor. Even though there was an elevator in the building, you still had to walk to the elevator to, take the elevator. Maybe she can't take stairs or whatever, but she wouldn't even walk to the elevator. So she literally did not go to meetings because she did not want to expend the energy to go to the second floor. And one day we had a pizza party, okay? And they delivered easily, 10 pizzas. There were trays of pasta and all of this stuff. Baby, when I tell you this delivery came to the door, this woman, you would think this was a completely different person. This lady moved like a cat. This woman carried boxes and boxes and boxes and trays of food upstairs, and she walked up the stairs. She didn't even go she walked up the stairs with all this food. She volunteered, right? She's, "Oh, I'm gonna do this. I'll go up here, just to make sure everything is set up, and I want to make sure everything I'm gonna spread it out on the table, and I want to make sure." Let me tell you something. This lady moved like a cat. She was nimble. She was quick. This was a new woman. And it was so fascinating to see who she was as a person when pizza was in the room, and who she was as a person when pizza was not in the room. And she also drank a lot, right? And she would come to work. "Oh my God, I just drank so much. Oh my God, I had a whole bottle of this. And I had a bottle. Oh my God, my head. She would do all of this stuff, right? This lady's in her 40s. And she would talk about alcohol the way somebody that just turned 21, so they're able to get buy alcohol for the first time legally. So it's this new thing. "Oh my God, I can't believe I drank so," that kind of stuff. Lady, you're in your 40s. She also smokes. She smokes. She drinks. She's 400. You guys, the reason why I'm telling you this story is because when I think of gluttony, this is the picture that I think a lot of people think of, right? Just this picture of this woman. This is just what I think a lot of people think of when they think of gluttony, right? But I also think that what happens is, I think that it's interesting, of all the years that I've been in church, I've never actually once walked in a church and had a sermon be on gluttony. There is a lot of talk, obviously, about food and, food issues and all of this stuff, but it tends to be about weight. It tends to be about health. It tends to be about just, wanting to look better, wanting to feel better. And all of those are, you know, valid. That's all valid. That's all valid, right? But I don't really hear people talk too much about gluttony and in a spiritual sense, right? It tends to, like I said, it just tends to be about, health, physical, beauty, wanting to look better in like all that kind of stuff, whatever. And again, that's totally valid. The reason why I wanted to do this video today is because for some people, you may never commit adultery. You may never, cheat. You may never be you're not a liar. You're not a thief, whatever. But gluttony may be the door that you have open, okay, that is allowing things in your life, blessings to be blocked in your life. It could be the door that you have open where, the enemy is able to come and kill, steal, and destroy. That could be your body. That could be your energy. That could be relationships. That could be opportunity, right? And I don't know. It's just something that I feel like seriously is not really talked about too much. And it makes me think about, fasting. In the Bible, we're told that fasting, it's able to break yokes and it can undo heavy burdens. So what would be the opposite of that? We fast to not depend so much on our physical, but focus and feed our spirit. Well, what's the opposite of that? If you're gorging yourself, you're out of control when it comes to food, and you're making your belly God. Just consider that if there is an area of your life where you don't like, something is off. Something is off. Because even when it comes to things like spiritual warfare or spiritual attacks, I think sometimes we think that it has to look a certain way or it comes to people in a certain way. But the enemy will come in any door, any crack, any window that you open, right? And again, I want to just say this. Gluttony is not, overeating during the holidays. Gluttony is not, I'm celebrating this and we're going to go out and we're have a great dinner and we're going to eat extra food and we're going to have a dessert because we're celebrating this great, that's not gluttony, okay? We are allowed to feast. The Bible is filled with feasting. That is not a bad thing. Gluttony is this habitual overconsumption, and even in the Bible and scripture, gluttony is paired with alcohol, being a drunk. There's nothing wrong with drinking. You can have a glass of wine, you can drink, you can have a beer, but having a beer and being an alcoholic are two different things. They're two different things. Enjoying a meal, enjoying dessert, having that extra piece of, whatever. That's one thing. Being a glutton and making your belly God is another. So I'm going to wrap up the video. I just want to put it out there. If you're having an issue with food or you're having an issue with gluttony, more than likely it's one of those things that and you don't have to be, 400 pounds or whatever. A lot of this stuff, you can't always expect something to just look, like the stereotype, Just consider that this could be the area of your life that you are allowing to block your blessing, and you are allowing the enemy to kill, steal, and destroy from you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.